Welcome to the Filmmaking Masterclass being handled by Digital Dreams, and it's part of the TVET Creative Media Program, which is being implemented by Federal Ministry of Education with support from the World Bank. So welcome today. How many of you were in the last class? If you're in the last class, just say, I was in the last class in the comment section. Just go to the comment section and mention that you're in the last class. This will help us know how many of you have followed up. And if you are also in the last class we did introduction to AI filmmaking. And today we are following it up with introduction to AI-powered storytelling, which is using AI for your story development, script writing, and storytelling. And today we are moving it on and moving it fast. What we want to know, if you are in the last class, please, you can just raise your hand or go to the comment section and let us know, right? Okay, I'm seeing people. And if you are also in the last class and you have need your assignment, because we always encourage you to do your assignment. You have done your assignment, which is creating your avatar video and posting it on your social media networks, and putting the link in the app. You can let us know by telling us, just give us, raise your hand or just comment that you have done your assignment and tell us what the experience is like. Did you meet any challenges? Was it fun doing? Was it difficult? Or was it something that you breezed through, right? We believe that most of you will breeze through it because it's not a difficult assignment, okay? So I will want to read out some of your comments here. So if you have done your assignment, just try to go to the chat box and give us your experience. Let's see, so that we could, Thelma, you're saying this is your first class. Welcome, right? Glory said, how can you navigate the app for assignments? If you go to the Link School app, you'll be able to navigate the app, the Link School app, or you go to the the WhatsApp group, and you can comment and people will be able to help you, right? So if you are in the last class, please go to the chat box, right? And Victor Gojapo is saying he did his assignments. Please just tell us how the experience was. It will help us, guide us, right? Tony D says your first class. Welcome. You could always, if you're first class, you could always, all the classes have been recorded, right? I will tell them to send the link to the recorded version of the last class to this WhatsApp, to the both the YouTube and also the Zoom link, so that if it's your first class, that's why we were asking if you're first class, we will now know, right? But welcome, in as much as it's your first class today, it's not, you have not missed much, right? Kainde is saying he's raising up, and Kainde, you can ask your question. We won't allow voice questioning because it becomes easier. You can always ask your question in the chat. Okay, so welcome everyone. And if you are part of the last class, we know that we created the avatar app using different platforms. And I promised you guys that I will do a compilation video to show you guys how the different avatar talking videos that we have produced, how they exist, how they are on different platforms. So you could actually see them and make a choice by yourself. Which one do you prefer and which one is better, right? So in that case, I'm going to do an update. I'm going to show you guys what we produced, and I will allow you guys to make a choice of which one you feel is better, right? I wouldn't make the choice for you, right? So fine, let's move ahead to see which one works better. Okay. So I'm going to switch this into a YouTube video where we could all watch and see which one we feel is better. Right? Okay. Let's move on. If I should click this, this is a video comparing the different AI avatar videos we produced, right? We remember we did 3. We attempted it in Google VO. We attempted it. We also did one in Kling AI. We also did one in HeyGen. So I'll play a video showing the outcome of all of them so that you can make your choice. Okay? So let's go. If you are ready, let's see which one is better. Okay. This is the first one from Google Flow.
Hello, my name is Chucks. I am a filmmaker. Today, I will show you how artificial intelligence can help create cinematic films.
Okay, that's the first one from Google Flow. The next is from Kling AI.
Hello, my name is Chucks. I'm a filmmaker.
You can see that the lip sync was not working in Kling AI.
Hello, my name is Chucks. I'm a filmmaker and a creative media educator. Today, I will show you how artificial intelligence can help create cinematic films.
This is HeyGen. In this particular HeyGen, I used the original audio I recorded. You guys watched me record my audio, and I used the original audio I recorded. In the original audio, I said I added that a creative educator, right? So you could see that. Now I'm going to play the next one using HeyGen, but making HeyGen clone my voice, and they will clone my voice, and it will not say some of the things I said in the original audio. So you will now see the play by HeyGen. I'll also play it back after so that you guys can take your pick. Okay, this is HeyGen using clone voice.
Hello, my name is Chucks. I'm a filmmaker. Today, I will show you how artificial intelligence can help create cinematic films.
Okay. So you could, so please, you guys can write in the comment box which one you feel is much better, right? Which one you feel is
If you're still
is
typing your
better,
coding prompts, you're leaving performance.
right? Anyone you feel that is better, please type it in the chat box. But I will replay it again. I will play it again so that you guys can also see it again once again and make your pick. So let's see which one is the winner. If you find which one is the winner, please put it in the comment section. I'll play it again. Okay.
Hello, my name is Chucks. I am a filmmaker. Today, I will show you how artificial intelligence can help create cinematic films.
Hello, my name is Chucks. I'm a filmmaker. Hello, my name is Chucks. I'm a filmmaker and a creative media educator. Today, I will show you how artificial intelligence can help create cinematic films.
Right? Okay. Now I've shown you this. Let's move on. So please,
Most AI videos look impressive, but they still feel like they're AI generated. To me, cinematic means reaching a point where people stop asking, is this real or is it generated?
Okay. Now let's move on. I want to be able to read out some of your chats. Let's see who do you think is the winner, right? Mohammed say prefer Google Flow. One informer said, hey Jen, it seems like hey Jen is topping the charts. Yeah, right? Hey Jen, Google Flow. Wow. I think it's a contest between hey Jen and Google Flow, but from what I'm seeing here, seems like you guys prefer the hey Jen better. Flow, hey Jen. Okay. Wow. Seems like it's a tie. And on YouTube, let me even see what's your YouTube live stream. Please, you could also comment. We'll also read out your comments. It seems to me like Hey Jen is winning the race here. Okay, so now that I've done the comparison, right? B-Man is still saying going for Google Flow. Eunice is going for Hey Jen. So I think it's a strong tie, right? For Hey Jen, I think Hey Jen is a winner here. So now you have been able to see the different platforms. One of the things we always also do is to try to create a whole lot of comparisons. So that you also know the right AI tool to use at every point in time, right? So that you won't get lost, right? On YouTube, many persons are saying hey Jen. It's like hey Jen is winning. Okay, fine. Let's look at today's lesson. Today's lesson is AI powered storytelling. How can you use AI to power your storytelling? How can you write stories with AI? That is what we want to discuss at this point. Right? So that's exactly what we want to discuss today. Is how do you use AI to write stories? So let's move on. Right? The very first thing we are saying is that technology is just a tool. The story is everything. Right? This is important for you to know. Technology is just a tool. Right? You have different tools from the camera to the phone to now AI, but all of them are tools for storytelling. Now, the question is, how do you write a good story using all these tools? That is one of the things we want to teach you today, and you shouldn't take for granted. And you understanding it that is a tool, you understand that a tool does not do the work for you. Now, I'll give this as an example. If you have a very good barber, experienced barber that is very artistic, and you give him a bad hair clipper, he will still produce quite a good work, right? He might also perform better than even a bad barber with the best tools. So understand that all these things are tools, but you also know that the barber will perform optimally if you give him the right tools. So if you are good at storytelling and you have the right tools, you will produce wonders. But even if you are not good at storytelling and you have the best AI tools, you will still produce mediocre quality work. So we always say the story is everything, and the story has always been human. It's the human being that tells the story. Everything you are using is the tools to make you create a good story. So every great film starts with a story, right? And with AI, you can create powerful original stories faster, deeper, and much more creative. And this is the power of AI. This lesson will guide you how to use AI to develop captivating stories, write engaging scripts, and transform your ideas into visual storyboards that will bring your imagination to life. Remember, AI is not a substitute for creativity. We always say this. It is a tool for what? Creativity. And if this is your first class, we have also taken a class earlier on script writing, right? You can always go to the Lean School app, right, and enroll yourself in the screenwriting class, which was done last 2 weeks. right? So you have not missed anything. The videos are there, the recordings are there, and it will help you develop also better as a script writer, right? So, but today we are going to delve further into how you can use AI to generate outstanding scripts. So, if you are good to go, please just say, give a round of applause on the comments. Let's dive in. Okay. Now let's look at the fundamentals, because we can't start teaching you the storytelling without you knowing the fundamentals, right? A good story is equal to a good character that has a goal plus conflict, right? So at the core of every story is built on three pillars, and if one is weak, the story will collapse. The first one is the character. Who is the story about? The next is the goal. What do they want? The third one is what? The conflict. What stands in their way? Example, a young Lagos programmer wants to win a tech competition, right? Remember, the character here is the young Lagos programmer. What is his goal? He wants to win a tech competition. Then, but his AI tool starts sabotaging him, right? So what's the conflict? The conflict is that the AI tool is sabotaging him. This is simple, clear, and cinematic. So always remember at every point in time that a good story is what? The character plus goal plus conflict. Always have that in mind. And every story has an emotional engine, right? That emotional engine is what drives the story. Without an emotional engine, the story will become flat, right? So a story is not just what happened, it is why we care. You should always ask yourself, why should we care about the story, right? So every strong story is driven by three emotional forces. First is desire. What the character wants, e.g., save their example is maybe save their mother from debt. So they should have a desire, right? Right? The next one is what? Fear. What they might lose, right? That fear of what they might lose is what forms the stake, right? That's what we say about stake. What are they feeling and what are they losing? The third one is what? The change, the transformation. How do they transform? Example, they learn that success is not just what? Winning, right? So every story you have should have the desire, the goal of the character, should have a stake, which is fear, and should have a transformation. It is when you have these three things that you now have the emotional engine that can drive the story and make us care for the story. And you should also understand, as the third fundamental of storytelling, is that every story should have a structure, which is like the skeleton of the story, right? This structure, the most popular structure, is what we call the three-act structure, right? Most films follow this universal structure, and that is how you can map it to a very simple story, right? Now, let's say we are taking a very simple story called The Last Call, about a girl who hears future phone calls, so she can hear future phone calls. How can we map this story idea into a three-act structure? The first one is Act 1, which is a setup. We introduce the character and the word and present the problem. The girl hears future phone call, so she hears the call before it happens, right? Then Act 2 is the confrontation. We increase the obstacles, we increase the stakes. Example, right? She tries to do something and to change the event, and things get worse. She hears about a future phone call, tries to change the event, and things get worse, right? Then the final act, the Act 3, will now be what? The resolution, which will be the final confrontation and the emotional closure, right? Maybe in that resolution, she accepts her fate or sacrifices to save what? Someone. We could see how we have been able to map this simple story into the three-act structure. And this is quite important. We understand how to do that, right? Please, to know more about this, you can always go to the script writing course in this TVET training. It is available in the Learning School app and it is free. So nobody is telling you, remember this course is free. Nobody is telling you to pay anything, right? So if you are using the Learning School app, please, you can go, if you are new to the Learning School app, probably, the one you enrolled probably would be the AI filmmaking master course. But if you want to know more about script writing or even the fundamentals of creative media, the course is still available in the app. You can still enroll for free and take the course for free and learn more when it comes to script writing. Because here we are not going to go deep into writing scripts. We are going to go deep into how to use AI to write scripts, not basically what script writing is. Okay. Now, also, every good story must have what? Conflict. If there is no conflict, there is no story. And the best stories combines what? Multiple types of conflicts simultaneously. And there are different types of conflicts. The first one is internal conflict, which is fear, guilt, doubt. These are the battles the character fights within their own mind, right? It is important to understand that having a good internal conflict drives the story. The next is the external conflict, which is people, society, environment. These are the forces pushing back from outside, right? This is also maybe the forces of the antagonist and all those ones, preventing him from achieving his goal. Then you should also have what we have the situational conflict, which is time pressure, danger, mystery. These are circumstances that force impossible choices. These are situational conflicts. A good example is a woman must choose between saving her brother, which is external, or letting him die to prevent a disaster. This is a moral stroke internal conflict. Should he save his brother, right? Or should he let him die to prevent a disaster? These are different types of conflict. And when you combine both internal and external conflict and institutional conflict, you make the story to be quite strong. Okay. Another fundamental of storytelling is that you should learn to show, don't tell. Remember that filmmaking and videos are visual storytelling. They are not written storytelling. They are visual storytelling. Now, if you understand that they are visual storytelling, right, you will understand why we are saying you should show, don't tell. So try not to be explaining. Let the audience figure out what is happening. Don't be using words to be explaining, right? So if you have watched the film we showed last time, which is the Water Goddess film, you notice that if you notice in the film, you notice that there is no dialogue. There was absolutely no dialogue. Nobody was saying anything to anybody in the movie, but you understand that short clip just because everything is visual. That's the example of what show, don't tell, right? And let's give you an example. A bad example is you write that he is scared, right? Don't do that. You could show this same thing that he's scared by making his hand shake as he drops the phone and he locks the door twice, right? This is important. Show, don't tell, right? Okay, let's move on. Another thing that is so important is that you must have stakes, have cause and effect, and the character arc. And what is stakes? Stakes is what happens if the character fails, right? And the higher the stakes, the stronger the engagement, right? Example, if somebody is rushing through a traffic, right? And the stake is that he will miss a meeting. That is a very low stake. An increased stake is that if he doesn't come early, he will be sacked. That is an increased stake. But for instance, if I can even increase the stake that if he doesn't come to the hospital quite early enough, that his loved one would die, right? So you could see how this stake will increase the emotions people feel by watching your movie. Then the next is cause and effect. Every event must lead to the next, right? If he ignores a call, if he ignores a warning or a call, he has it will lead, assuming he ignores a warning, it will lead to a wrong this decision, right? Or disaster. You could see how everything has a cause and effect. Cause and effect is so important, right? Right? So this also helps create flow for your story. Right? Next is the character arc. Another important thing is the character arc, right? Every good story shows changes. The character must change. He must grow. If he grows or fall or flat change, when there is no change, there is no emotional payoff. It is quite important, right, that you have emotional payoff. Do you understand? So the character arc is quite important. So always ensure that there is a character arc when you are writing your story, right? There should be a change. Okay. Okay. Are we here? So are we understanding that? Okay, so let's move on. Okay. So we have talked about stakes, cause and effect, and the character arc. Okay. The next is that for your story, you should have a theme, and it should be simple. In trying to create AI stories, always go for simplicity. Is important, right? You know, you are creating 10 seconds clips, and that is what you are going to edit to form your story. And you making it so complex will not help you or even help the story. So always try to ensure simplicity, right? And it should have a theme. What is the theme of your story, right? Is important. Now, example, let's give a good example. Let's say the story is about a man who cheats death. The theme could be that you can't escape what? The consequence of your action, right? Assuming I want to write about karma, that anything you do, you will see, anything you sow, you will reap. That I can create that with what? That can be a theme, and I write a story that will depict that, right? So let's move on. Okay. Now let's put all these things we have explained together and see how can we even create a mini story out of this. The first, let's create a mini story called like a rider who discovered he can rewind time, but only for 10 seconds. The character is the rider, right? What is his goal? His goal is that he needs to save his sister from an accident. The conflict is that each time he rewinds time, it weakens him, right? So the stake will now be what? His life versus her sister's life, right? So if he keeps rewinding time, it keeps weakening him and he will die. That is a stake. And the theme becomes sacrifice and what? Fate. Should he accept the fate of his sister who had an accident and died? Or should he sacrifice himself in the process and die. So you will see that the character arc is that the character might start from selfish survival. He wants to survive selfishly to the point where he's doing what? A selfless sacrifice. So you could see that's the character arc we might want to depict, right? So looking at this, you see why this is important. So you look at this ministry, and we will see how also going forward, how we can use AI to generate these stories and critique it. Now, how do AI fit into storytelling? It fits into 4 different areas. The first one is in generating ideas faster. With AI, you can generate ideas much, much faster. This is an area where AI becomes a very important tool. You can explore dozens of premises in minutes instead of days. So AI is quite powerful in brainstorming and generating ideas very, very fast. And this is where it excels. You could also explore multiple versions. You can explore different story paths and different endings and different character choices, right? This is quite important, right? Because AI can help you generate all these paths. AI can also help you improve structure and dialogue. This is also a strong part of AI. Help you refine the script with targeted rewrite and structural notes, right? AI can also help you visualize scenes, help you generate the storyboard frames and animatics for pre-visualization. This is also an area where AI becomes so strong and so important. Okay. Now, but you must also know that AI assists creativity. It doesn't replace your voice. It is quite important we know that, right? So let's move on. Let's look at a quick story formula for you to write your logline, which is, example, a character who wants something, a goal, must overcome something or else. So let's say a young Nigerian filmmaker who wants to prove himself must finish an AI film in 24 hours or lose his only chance at success. You could see I've created using this quick story formula. And what I've just created is what is called the log line. It is great for writing. AI is very great for writing a log line. So great storytelling is not about complexity. It's about clarity, emotion, and transformation. If your audience can hear who this is about, what do they want, why does it matter, then your story works. And this is quite important. Why we are making this emphasizing on this is that we need to improve our storytelling, especially in the Nigerian creative space. The weakest point is not the cinematographer. See, I always say, it is not the picture, it's not the acting, it is not even the sound design. The weakest point in our films, Nigerian films right now, is the story. And you should understand that a good story, whether it is shot with a bad camera, will still be enjoyed. We all know about the black and white film of Charlie Chaplin, right? Most of us still enjoy it till today. They are in black and white, but we enjoy it. There are sometimes there is no even sound, but we still enjoy it. Why? Because they have fantastic story. So stories are what drive every narrative form. And by the time we improve our stories, we will have better output in our cinemas. So let's move on. Okay, so we are going to do a practical AI workflow, right? I will explain it here and I will do that and generate a script. So remember, in this training, what we do is I will do the talking and we do the doing, right? So we are doing the talking now and we will do the doing and everybody will be able to see how it's done, right? And any story we generate today will be used on Friday to generate the videos. So on Fridays, we are going to do the generating of the videos. today we are generating the story, we are generating the storyboard and everything. So the script is going to be done today, and we are going to see how we are going to use AI to get it done, right? Now, what are the 3 stages of AI-assisted filmmaking in story writing, right? Like I said, always treat AI as a collaborator. Use it to brainstorm, test options, expand ideas, and speed up pre-visualization, while you stay in charge of the taste, the structure, and the final decision. So in part A, we are going to look for at AI, how do you use AI to develop the story? In part B, we are going to also look at how AI will help us in script writing, and in part how AI can help us in storyboarding, right? So the core workflow is ideas, premise, log line, character profiles, beat sheets, scene outline, scene drafts, revision, shortlist, and storyboard. So let me take it again. Ideas, premise, log line, character profile, beat sheet, scene outline, script draft, revision, shortlist, and storyboard. Now, this is the development process for this we are going to handle, right? Now, if you jump any of these steps, you might land yourself with a weak script if you are using AI to generate your story. So let's move on. Now, let's start. The very first step we are going to do in the story development is you start with what we call the story brief. So before you touch AI, write 5-line brief, right? This will give AI the constraints. It works better when you define a target than when it's open-ended, right? So the genre, what genre are you writing on? Then the next is, who is the main character? Example of what we have been using is a young woman who can hear future phone calls. What is the goal? The goal is to save probably her brother from being killed, right? And what's the obstacle? Each prediction she does, changes reality. And what's the emotional theme? It is maybe guilt versus control, right? Now, if you have this brief, then that is your first step. You remember, AI is not going to write the story brief for you. You must be the one to write this story brief. It is when you have written this story brief is when you can now take it to AI for further help. So you don't come and say, AI should write a story for you. No, you write a story brief and give it to AI to help you further in the development. Remember, AI is not a substitute for creativity. It is a collaborator, right? It helps you. So the final call, the final decision is still yourself. So before you touch AI, please write your story brief. And we will do all this in this class. You will see me write my story brief, pass it to AI, and AI will help me generate everything I need to generate. Right? The scene 2 is you generate multiple premise, right? You generate multiple premise. Now, take a good look at this step 2, right? You don't tell AI to just write a premise for you. You tell him to write like 12 original premise, 20 premise, so that you can, in those premise, use that as a brainstorming tool and choose one that works well for you. If the 10 you have is not working well for you, for instance, tell it to generate more, 20 more. Remember, it's not a human being that will be grumbling. That's some of the mistakes. So if you have told AI to generate 20 premise, right? And it generates the 20 premise for you, you should, and you don't like the 20, you can say generate extra 20. It's not a human being, it can always do that work for you, right? Now, example of a script or a prompt, because that's exactly what we are trying to do. We're also trying to show you the prompts that don't suffer much, right? It becomes easier for you, right? We're going to show you the prompts. And if you are looking on the screen, that is a prompt on the block list, and that's a prompt that can do it for you, right? The prompt is saying, asking this in act, and in this prompt, you can use Chat GPT to do this. So I'm going to use Chat GPT, so you guys are going to say it. So you are going to tell AI, example, act as a film development assistant, generate 12 original film premise based on this brief. Remember that this brief, it is you that is going to write it, right? John Ware, psychological thriller set in modern day Lagos. Theme, guilt versus control. Audience, young adult, right? Budget, left, low budget. One time, 8 to 12 minutes. This is what premise you are asking AI to generate. Now, you are saying that for each premise, you should provide a title, one sentence premise, why it is cinematic, estimated production complexity, a freshness score out of 10. Freshness score is how fresh is the idea, right? And you are also telling the AI in the prompts, avoid cliches, overused twists, and stories that requires many locations. This is a prompt you are giving AI. And if you give a prompt, this prompt to AI, it will generate like 10 premises for you. And you now can start choose one to work from, right? Now, after you have chosen your premise, right? The next you need to do is to write what? A log line. A good log line tells who wants what stand in their way, and what happens if they fail. You keep each under 35 words and make them sound cinematic, not generic. So now you choose one of those premises that AI has written. Assuming has written it 12 for you, you choose one of them, right? And tell it to write 10 stronger log line for this. And you are discussing now is what premise you have chosen, right? So write 10 stronger log lines for the chosen premise you have chosen, which could be anything. Each log line should include the protagonist, the goal, the main obstacle, the stakes. Keep each one under 35 words. Make them sound cinematic, not generic. Now, if you give AI this prompt, or ChatGPT this prompt, or any other text generating model that you have, it will give you like 10 log lines for you to choose one. You could see how I started with doing 12 premises, choosing one among them, giving back to AI to write me 10 log lines, and I'm choosing one log line from it. Okay. The next, after you have generated that, is to build the character profile, right? Now you know your premise, now you know your log line, right? You can now use AI to build a character, your protagonist profile for the story, right? So you can use AI to design it, right? And most of the times, don't accept the first profile. Push for human flaws and surprising contradiction. Now let's give an example of prompts that can do that. Now, some of these prompts are for your references so that when you take this document, you could always look at that and use it to generate whatever you want to do. Let's give an example. Create a protagonist profile for this story. Include name, age, occupation, external goal, internal need, wound stroke, backstory, fear, contradiction, speaking style, visual traits, how they can change by the end. Then, after you have done this for the protagonist, right? Then you also do it for your antagonist and your supporting characters, right? This is important. You could also add follow-up prompts like make the flaw more human, give the characters a surprising contradiction, make the dialogue pattern more Nigerian and natural. And you will see me put this prompt in ChatGPT and you see what we can produce. But let's follow all the steps. Once we are done with the steps, we go into practically demonstrating everything we are discussing here, right? So everybody should relax, right? We'll go into the practical after this. Now, the next step 5, you generate the theme, the moral pressure, and the conflict what map. So you could now give AI, based on this log line, which is the log line you choose, create the central dramatic question, the theme stated as a tension, not a slogan, 5 ways the protagonist can be tested. Remember, you can see what I'm doing. 5 ways the protagonist can be tested, 5 escalating complication, and 3 possible endings. Tragic, ironic, hopeful. These are 3 different endings. You are telling the AI, say an ending that is tragic, or an ending that is ironic, or an ending that is what? Hopeful. So you will see when you push these tasks to AI, what it can do. Now, the next thing you can use AI to do is to build the beat sheet, right? Right? The beat sheet defines interesting and important moments in a story, right? And you should also be careful to make sure that the beats are filmable, because if a beat cannot be filmed, it is not ready, right? Replace abstract beats like she feels sad with filmable beats like she deletes the voicemail, then restore it from the trash at 2 a.m., right? Beat sheets are important. A beat sheet, a 10-minute film, you use the story. And remember, is the story premise you chose earlier, right? Use these headings: opening scenes, setup, inciting incidents, first turning points, rising complication, midpoint shift, crisis, climax, and resolution. Keep each bit to 1 to 2 sentences. Make sure the story is visually clear. Now, this prompt, assuming you give this prompt, it will help you to generate the bit sheet based on your story. Okay? Now, let's move on to what? After you have generated the bit sheet, the next thing you need to do is to do what? Stress test the story, right? So here you are making AI to become your development what? Editor. And this is one of the best uses of AI in the entire story development workflow, using AI as your development what? Editor. Now you have the bit sheet. You need to pass the bit sheet into AI and ask it to critique it, right? And it will show you problems before you invest time writing the full scenes, right? And a good example of doing this is to write a prompt that says, critique this what? Bit sheet like a strict story editor. Identify weak causalities, cliche moments, unclear stakes, scenes that are repetitive, emotional beats that are on end. The purpose then propose what? Fixes without changing the core concept. Here you are making AI to become your what? Step. I'll beg of you, if you didn't learn anything today, learn how to use AI to critique your story before writing, because it will help you make the story stronger even before you write one single scene, right? Let's move on. After you have what? Stress test the story, the next thing you do is what? Do your screenplay using AI. And AI can do what? Help you move the beat sheet to a scene outline, drafts scene by scene, and rewrite in focused what? Passage. So it can help you also do what? In the draft scene, right? And also in rewriting scenes. Now, let's go to step 8 and let's see how AI can help turn our beat sheet into a scene outline, right? You have a goal, friction and change. We have been talking about this thing. Friction is the obstacle. Goal or conflict, go conflict and change. If nothing changes, then that scene is not important. So assuming we go to AI and tell AI, convert this bit sheet into a scene by scene outline. Each scene should include the scene number, the interior or exterior location, time of day, purpose of the scene, conflict in what changes by the end, and the visual idea. Target 8 to what? 12 scenes total. Once we do this, what will happen is that the AI will turn our bit sheets into a scene outline. This is also where it starts getting very, very interesting. You start seeing the power of AI and what it can do, right? Now, once it turns our scene outline, then the next thing to do is to write each scene, scene by scene. So we can write each scene. We can draft the screenplay scene by scene. If you have the story outline, the next thing you are going to do is to write the scene by scene. So it is not good telling AI to write the whole screenplay for you. It is, don't even do that. You will produce a very, very weak script if you attempt it. But if you have the scene outline, you can make AI write each scene for you. Now and also understand that for continuity, right, you also need to provide context to the AI. So always paste your log line, your character notes, and your previous scene summary in each prompt. Now let's look at a prompt that can get that happen. Why we are showing you all the prompts is that we know that this is where people have serious issues. They have issues creating the right prompt that will write. For example, a prompt that can do that. It's scene 3. Remember here it's telling you scene 3 in screenplay format, right? Or scene 2 or scene 1. Any of the scenes in screenplay format. The context. For context, you paste the log line, right? What the log line is. You also paste the character notes. You remember that the character notes is what we built from what? The character what? Profile. Remember that. That is why that character profile is important. Then you paste the previous scene summary. What's the summary of what? The previous scene. Then you also write the scene objective, right? The scene objective, you can get the scene objective from your beats or your story outline, right? Which is, example, the protagonist tries to hide the phone call recording from her brother, right? That is the scene objective. Then we now give the AI the requirements: industry standard screenplay style, strong subtext, concise action line, natural dialogue, no exposition dump, and keep scene length about what? 1 page. Okay? Now, once we give AI this, it will help generate us a script. This is where it becomes very, very interesting. Right? So, moving on. After you have done each of those scenes, remember in this story, we are explaining that we have 12 scenes, for instance. So you do the scene 1, write it, do the scene 2, write it, do the scene 3, write it, scene 4, scene 5, scene 6 till your last scene. After you have done that, you can now compile the script and try to use AI to rewrite these scenes, right? You can use AI to rewrite. That is, you now have your first draft, so you can use AI to rewrite the dialogue for each character, right? And make them. You can tell AI to rewrite this dialogue so that each character avoids saying exactly what they polished or AI generated. You could use AI to do this, right? And a good way of doing that is that you can tell AI to give you 3 dialogue versions of the same scene. One that is more tensed, or one that is more emotionally restrained, or more that is darkly what? One that is what? Much funnier. And AI would also do that for you, right? Also, AI can help you tighten action lines, right? It can help you tighten action lines. So you can use AI to write better action lines in your scenes, right? This is quite important, right? Then you can also use AI for structural rewrites, right? Where AI is acting as your script consultant, right? So you give him the script and you tell AI, read this short screenplay as a script consultant. Give notes under what? Concept, structure, character, dialogue, visual storytelling, and ending. Then give the top 5 rewrite priorities, right? So you could also use AI as what? Your script consultant. And it will do a very good job. Now, also AI can help you do the check the format, right? Can check the headings, the character names, the action blocks, the dialogue. Can give your entire script to AI and it will do scenes and it will do all these checks for you. Now we have looked at what AI for script writing, story development. We have looked at AI for script writing. Let's look at how can we use AI for story, right? Now, after your script is stable, you can use AI to do the storyboarding, which is breaking down all these scenes into your visual beats, right? Which is dividing into the short moments with purpose and duration. You could also convert it to your short list, which is your list of your shots. A single scene can have different shots. Example, in that story, the story we did of the water goddess that is being shot, it's just one scene, but we had over 24 different shots, right? So AI can also help you generate storyboarding prompts. So this is quite important. So let's move on. Now, this is an example of a script that will help you break a scene. Let's take a scene you have done into the visual beat. Now, this visual beat is normally also your what? Your short list. So it gives you the shot number, the framing, the camera angle, camera movement, the subject action, the emotional purpose, estimated duration of that particular scene, right? So if you give him that script, this prompt, break this scene into storyboarding beats. For each beat, include the shot number, shot type, and the rest. Keep the sequence in cinematic and practical for production. It will generate a short list for you for that particular scene. And once you have the short list, right? Now the short list will give you whether it is wide establishing shots, right? Or medium shots or an insert. All these will be available in what the AI can generate for you, short list. Also remember that we will do this practically in this class. We will take the story, the story from the beginning, run it, generates the beats, generates the screenplay, and generate the short list, and move ahead to generate the storyboard. Now, you can also use AI to visualize the storyboard. Now, let's give an example, this plot, right? Create a cinematic storyboard frame, right? We are telling the AI now to create an image for us. The scene context, a young woman in dim apartment hides a glowing phone behind her back while her older brother watches suspicious. Shot type, medium, over the shoulder shots. Style, black and white storyboard sketch, strong contrast, expressive faces, simple background shapes, right? Camera 35mm lens, composition, the border is in the foreground silhouette. Woman in the mid frame, the phone barely visible behind her hips. Now, in this case, we are telling AI to generate this for us, right? We are saying the mood should be paranoia, secrecy, and emotional pressure. Now, if you do this, you generate the storyboard shot, right? Now, but if you are going to do that, you also need to know how to create what? A consistent character. Because if you are going to do your storyboarding, you need consistent what? Character. Because it is also your storyboard from this storyboard level, right? In AI filmmaking, what we do is that we use the storyboard to do the initial image generation that we will use to do what? Do the video generation. So your storyboard is your images, your image generation. So it is important here, right? I will also show practically how to use consistent image generation. And we'll also do image generation in different platforms to see how it works. Now, let's give an example. If I go to ChatGPT and say, create a visual continuity sheet for a protagonist for our storyboard, use face description, hair, wardrobe, color palette, posture, recurring props, right? Write it in a way that can be reused across image prompts. If you do this, it will generate a prompt, right? A result that you can use in image prompts because you want it to use the same way. So if you look at this particular image by your left, it's the same character, the two side views, and one front view, but the image is consistent. This is the same character, smiling, being worried, smiling, and just being normal. This is also the same character wearing different clothing. So you could see how it is consistent, right? Apart from your character, you also need location what? Consistency, right? You need an image that you can use for your location what? Consistency. So you can actually write a form that says, create a reusable visual description for this location, a cramped Lagos apartment, low ceiling, faded cream walls, metal window frames, weak fluorescent, right? Weak fluorescent lighting, old sofa, charger cables on Windows 2, right? You can now tell them, make it concise and specific for consistent storyboard generation. Now that will generate a reusable visual description of your location. Okay. Now, the next thing you could do also is that you could also add camera language, which is suggesting how the shot will look like. Remember, we have talked about different shot style, wide angle, medium, close up, low angle, high angle, right? Over the shoulder shots, right? So you could also add all this. And let's see how, let's say, suggest a short progression for the scene that starts neutral, becomes tense, and ends what? Claustrophobic, right? So you could actually make AI to suggest for you the different camera language or camera angles that will work for your shots. Now, and for people who are telling us, asking for the different types of camera shots, please, you can have a good look at the different types of camera shots. This is the extreme wide shot. I'll show the image. You see the image of the tiny image of the character in an extreme space. This is called extreme wide shots. Right? This is called a medium shot that can contain two persons discussing. Right? This is an extreme close-up shot. You see, we are focused on the eyes, and we could see even the goose pimples and the tears coming out from the eyes. This is an extreme close-up shot. So now this is a wide shot. So when we say a wide shot, this is an example of what we mean. While the character is in frame, showing its full view with the environment in full view too. This is a close-up shot. You see, we are close up to him. But it's not extreme, right? And this is what we call the over the shoulder shot. You can see that this shot is passing through over the shoulder of the person who is in the foreground to see the person who is in the background. Okay. Now we have seen different types of shots. So when we are talking about extreme wide shot, medium shot, extreme close-up shot, or over the shoulder shots, you know what we mean. Now let's look at the next step is you take this your storyboard and you change it to a video. So you can use modern tools like OpenAI, Sora, or Google Flow, right? To take this image of your storyboard and turn it to a video, right? So you take each of these frames and turn it to the video. So what we are going to do today is reach the point where we can generate an image that we can turn to a video. So let's look at the complete workflow, right? Phase one is storytelling. Write a 5-line story brief. You must write it that include the genre, the character, the goal, the obstacle, and the emotional theme. Ask AI for what? 10 to 20 premises of your story. Then you need quantity first before what? Quality. So ask it to generate 20, 30, any number you want. Now you pick one of them and generate 10 log lines, right? Pick one of them and generate 10 log lines. Refine the log lines until it's cinematic and what? Specific. After you have done that, you build your character profile, right? You generate theme and a conflict map, generate beat sheet, and you now stress test the story. I repeat that part. Stress testing the story is so important because using AI, you can critique the story and see where you have weak causalities and unend what fits. In the phase two of it, you use AI to convert bits into what the scene outline. You draft each scene by scene. You rewrite your dialogue for subtext, trim action lines. Use AI to also get notes on the script. Then rewrite it with focused passes. After that, you do your what? You do your storyboard, right? You break each scene into visual bits, turn bits into short lists, generate storyboarding board prompts, log character and location continuity, define your character language, and optionally create what? Your animatics. So, what are the best practices? Now we have discussed all this, right? We now know the workflow. What are the best practices? You need to write better prompts. Don't write prompts like you go to AI and say, write me a story, right? It doesn't work. You must provide constraints. Give AI constraints. A better prompt is generate 8 low budget short film ideas set in Enugu, each with 2 main characters, 1 location, and a strong emotional twist. Example of this is a good prompt to give AI, give you a good story idea. Now, next one is you ask for options, not answers. Never ask AI for a single best answer. Ask for a range of options so that you can evaluate and choose which one meets your creative judgment. Instead of asking what is the ending of a story, say, give me 5 endings ranked by emotional impact, originality, and production work, duplicity. We are looking for what option in this case. We are not looking for what answers. Another best practice is what? Keep a project Bible. Maintain one document and paste into it, right? Every prompt, right? Have a project Bible. This project Bible will be a document where you put in your log line, your character biography, your word rules, your tone references, your visual references, your location notes, and your rewrite decisions. All right? You will see us do this. All right? Another best practice is what? Separate idea generation from evaluation. Example, the first prompt is generate 15 ideas. Now, the second prompt is now critique them. So don't say generate and critique, right? Do not mix both of them. Generate with one prompt, criticize with another what? Prompt. Also, rewrite with purpose. Never say make it better. Say something like make the protagonist more active in the second act, increase pressure from the antagonist, reduce exposition, keep runtime under 10 pages. Also, another best practice is use AI for pre-visualization. You can use OpenAI or Google Flow to do that. And protect originality. Keep your draft, your timestamp, and your own creative decision organized. Treat AI output as a raw material that you can reshape, not your finished work. Voice. This is quite important. AI is your tool, not your finished voice. And these are the common mistakes to avoid. These include accepting the first idea. Please, you don't have to accept the first idea. Always generate multiple options before committing. Let dialogue explain everything. No, always use subtext. Please also avoid generating a full script without an outline. Don't do that. Don't try to generate a full script without an outline. Don't skip the outline step. Also, don't ignore your local voice and culture. Make sure that anything you write, even with AI, you infuse your local voice and what, and your culture in it. Always use what? Consistent character description in your visual what? Prompts. Always paste your character continuity sheet into every image prompt. Then make your storyboard frames beautiful, not themeable. Don't try to make your storyboard frames beautiful. Try to make them what? Themeable. Right? Okay. Let's look at a ready-to-use master prompt. You can see these are a master prompt to do for your listing, right? Genre, you write inside the genre, the location. Assuming you ask AI to act as a professional film development assistant, scriptwriter, and storyboard planner. Help me develop a short film from idea to storyboard. The project constraint, the genre, the location, the runtime, the audience, the budget level, the tone, the language, so cultural what? Context. Then in your workflow, generate 10 story premises, expand the best story into log lines, build character profiles, create a beat sheet, convert to scene outline, draft scene at a time in a screenplay format, critique the drafts. So you can see all these are what we expect the agent AI to do for us, right? As a master prompt. Okay. Now, these are generating 10 premises, then choose one, write 3 log lines, then choose one, then create 9 story beats, then draft 2 scenes, generate 6 storyboard scene from it, right? Okay, so you can see all these are things you can do. Now, one of the things we should understand is that great storytelling is about clarity, emotions, and what? Transformation. We should be able to know who the story is about, a clearly defined character that the audience can follow and care about. What do these characters want? What's their goal? And each of their goals should have real stake, both personal, relational, and societal. And why does it matter, right? You should have a team that gives the story depth beyond the surface plot. If your audience can answer these three questions, then your story will work. And you should remember that AI is your collaborator, but your voice, your culture, and your vision is irreplaceable. AI cannot replace what? Your cinematic vision. So always use AI as a collaborator, not as the author. That's what we always say. AI should always be your collaborator, not the author. Right? So at this point in time, we will go to the practical section of this class. I've tried to run the slide within an hour so that we can go to the practical session. But before we go to the practical session, let me see if I can take 2 questions from the chat. So if you have 2 questions, you can ask or the live stream so that after that questions, we can go to the practical section, right? And if you have enjoyed it so far, please, you can always give us a round of applause in the comment section. That will feel encouraged, right? So, okay. So please, you can, if you are enjoying this to this point, you can give us a round of applause while I take a glass of water and to come and answer your questions and then move into the practical session. Okay. So if you have your questions, please ask I will take 2 questions, then we can continue. So I can even have a break, right? I'll take 2 questions from the chat. Then I will now go to the practical section and we will generate all this, generate a screenplay with a short list from with AI, and everybody can see it practically that we are not telling stories here. So do you have questions so far? You can also ask your questions if you're on the YouTube live stream. You can also ask your questions there, right? If you're YouTube live stream, you can also ask your questions there. Somebody's asking if you can get the slide I thought it from. Please, this slide, all my slides are available and it's free. If you go to the Link School app, in the Link School app, you can download this slide. This slide is even available since yesterday, right? It was since earlier this morning. You could always download the slide. Even the last class we did, you can always download the slide in the Link School app. And we also put in the slide the references so that you could, if you want to read further, you can always go to the references and read more. So you could always download the slide. Then Emmanuel is asking, sir, please, does AI complete a movie series without irregularities? No, it can't complete a movie series for you. If you want to write a movie series, you must have an outline. It is a tool, right? It is not the author. It is a tool you can use to write, not the author of your story. So don't expect that, how will AI even know the story you want to write? It should be your story, but you can use AI to brainstorm ideas, add more complexity and get things and do the writing, right? So if you have your basic idea, it can help you, right? Okay, so as I said, the slides are available, even the ones we did last time, right? It's available on the Link School app. If you have not been able to download the Link School app, go to the Link School app, download it, and you'll be able to have it. I know most of you already have the Link School app, right? Some said, will AI be able to detect if the same work matches another author? Not really. Not really. Because stories are plenty, right? So it's not as if, but it might find a similar work. So, okay. Okay, I think I've taken your questions here. Any questions you have from henceforth, you ask it we ask it when we go on to finish the practical section. Let's move on to the practical session. And in the practical session, I'm going to move the slide on so that we go to the workflow area where we discuss workflow. So I'm going to take the slides back, right? So we take the step 1. And we'll see how it works. Okay. So here we are in the step 1, which is writing your story brief. Now, what I'm going to do here is that I will want it to be as practical as possible so that somebody will not say that I've generated the story before coming here. So I want the audience here to provide me the genre. So one person should write the genre of the story he wants. Somebody should write who should be the main character in the comment section. Somebody should write the goal. Somebody should write the obstacle. Somebody should write the emotional theme. And I will take this thing and we'll combine it to write a prompt right now. So fine. So does it make some sense? I'm going to take this particular, I'll copy this. I'm copying this particular prompt and I'm taking it to ChatGPT. So this is ChatGPT. And I'm putting it there. But I'm going to change the brief of this based on what you have put on the comment section. So please, if you're in the comment section, please tell me, okay, Lotta is saying the genre should be sci-fi. So I'm putting sci-fi there. Can you guys see me so that's, okay. Sci-fi, okay. I'm taking the first one. Sal Kufanem Joshua is saying Emeka should be the main character. What is Emeka doing? Is it a young man? Right? Emeka is a young man. Okay. A young Emeka. Okay, somebody is saying Emeka is a drug addict, right? Okay, I'll put it. Drug addict. Okay. The setting, where should be the setting, please? The goal. Okay. That is modern day Enugu. Okay. I think I like that. What should be? Please, if you're on YouTube live stream, you can also provide your own content. I will also read it out. That we'll do this thing together. That's the good part of it, right? Somebody should provide me the team, right? Somebody should provide me the team. The first team I see there, I'll put it. Right? Okay. Okay. Somebody is asking what's the goal. I'm saying, I think I explained it earlier. Can also refer to the slide. Please, can you guys provide me the team? I'll leave it there. Okay, for the count of 3. Okay, in 3 seconds, if you can provide me the team. Okay, Paul Oyinloye is saying sacrifice over self-centeredness. So I put it, sacrifice over self-centered. Nice. Okay, I have the team, young adult, low budget, one time 8 to 12 minutes. I want to maintain the same thing there. So let's go. Let's start at the beginning. So I posted to ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT has produced for me 12 premises. The first one is what? The last dose, which is a desperate Emeka uses a black magic AI implant, right? That predicts the exact moment of his death, but it only updates when he helps someone else. Why is this cinematic? Tension built visually through countdown overlays and shifting timeline tied to what? Moral choices. Say, a black AI implant that predicts his exact moment of his death, but it only updates when he helps what? Someone. Borrowed breath, that's another one. Emeka discovers a device that lets him steal minutes of life from others to fuel his addiction until he must choose between saving a stranger or himself. Visual, live draining effects, slow motion, breath exchange, emotional close-up, right? Production complexity low, freshness score 8.5/9, echoes of withdrawal. During withdrawal, Emeka begins seeing future versions of himself, each worse than the last, unless he sacrifices something in the present, right? Then we have the recharge. I'll allow you guys to read it, and I'll allow everyone you guys to vote for one of you like. I'll give 2 minutes for everybody to vote. Then we will now take one of them, and we will now move on to develop the story, right? So that everything I've explained in this, you will see how we develop this thing to a full story, right? So I'll flow there for this thing. Then echoes of withdrawal. During the withdrawal, Emeka begins to see the future of himself. That's the third one. Each worse than the last, unless he sacrifices something. Then the recharge room. The premise is a hidden room in Enugu allows addicts to reset their bodies. But each reset erases a meaningful memory, right? That's another film idea. Then, number 5 is signal loss. Emeka's dealer communicates through a mysterious signal only addicts can hear, but following it leads to a moral test involving someone he loves. Okay, that's a signal loss. That's another premise, right? Skin trade. Emeka trades pieces of his physical body, painless, replaced by synthetic skin for drugs, until he must give up something irreversible. Wow, like this, right? But it might be complex to produce, right? The lag. Emeka experiences reality with time delay due to a neural drug, allowing him to see consequences before they happen, but only for what? Selfish reason. Okay, so you can see this one. One more upload. Emeka can upload his consciousness into a digital space to escape withdrawal, but each visit weakens his real world body. That's number 8. Number 9, the price of silence. A device suppresses Emeka's craving, but transfers them into someone nearby, forcing him to choose who suffers. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Now, we have fragments. Emeka breaks into physical shard he can sell for drug until he risks losing his memory. Then we have the heartbeat sync. This is of someone here, right? Emeka syncs his heartbeat with a dying stranger to stay alive during overdose, but doing so means sharing his fate. Then the last one, which is what? Substitute. A shadowy service allows a maker to transfer his subframe to a substitute until he discovers who the substitute really is. Okay. Now, we have these 12 stories. I will give a minute for you guys to choose. Please choose the one you like. The winner, I'll call out the winner. I'll call out the one who had the highest votes, and we will go on with further development of it. So please, a minute for everyone to vote for the story premise they like. If you are also on YouTube live stream, you could also vote. We are counting your votes too. Okay. I'm seeing borrowed debts. Okay. I'm seeing borrowed debts. Seems like number 2 is winning the votes. Number 7. Okay. Seems like borrowed debt has won the battle. Borrowed debt has won the battle. Let's look at the premise. America discovers a device that lets him steal minutes of life from others to fuel his addiction, until he must choose between saving a stranger or himself. Okay, fine. Isn't this beautiful? Right? Okay, you could see that it would have been hard to brainstorm and get this kind of story. Right? But he has given us 12. And we will now take these 12, right? And take each of them and build on that. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, remember we talked about the project Bible, right? Is go to Google Docs, right? And use Google Docs as my project Bible. So I'll open Google Docs. Open a blank document. Right. So I write, remember we have the premise right now. The premise. Okay. So I copy this, I paste here, and we are done, right? So I'm now doing my borrowed debt is the borrowed breath. Oh, it's borrowed breath. I must be saying debt since, sorry. It's borrowed breath. Okay. Now we are done. We are done with the first one, right? We have generated the next thing. The first step is done. Let's move on to the next step. Right? This is for generating multiple premise, which we have done. Let's refine let's refine the log line. So I take this same this thing. I copy this same prompt. I go back. Now, but you see what I'm going to do. Okay. Now, remember where I said for this film idea, I will now do this. I will now take the premise. Well, that is how to tell ChatGPT the idea I'm discussing, right? If I like, you put it in quotes. You like, you leave it. It's still work, right? So fine. And I want it to write 10 stronger log lines. So I click it, I write it. Now you could see the log lines is yeah. Emeka, a drug addicted hodler uses stolen device to siphon life from strangers to survive withdrawal. But when his next victim is innocent, he must choose to stay alive or let him what? Die. Now you could see all these drugs, right? So which one do you feel is the best log line? I think I like the first log line, right? So we can take the first log line as the log line we want to work on. So I take this, I take it to my project Bible. All right, log line. Right, I think we are going, right? Okay. Now we have done the premise. We have also done the log line. So let's move on. Now, let's build the character profile. So remember, I'm still going to use my premise. So I bring this. Okay, take the same scripts. Remember, I've taken my log line. So for this story we are discussing is what? The premise, the bold breadth. I take this thing there. Hope I'm not maybe moving too fast. I'm not losing you guys. I put the story here, right? Create a protagonist profile. So I click this. You could see the protagonist itself. And he has given me this. Now, if I don't want this, I can tell him to rewrite or add extracting, right? Now, the story is saying that Emeka is a phone repair man, right? So that actually means that is that the device might actually be, I can create a contradiction here where he steals from, I'll say, make the victims, so that I'll say, make the victims, right? That people is, people that brings phone for repairs to him. Right? Now, the idea here is that I'm making is that the people, when you bring a phone to him, right? Okay, new behavior. So you could see how he has written me this. Now, he has also added the innocent victim. Look at this now. This is what he generated ab initio, right? Generated for me the different parts for Emeka Okowie. This is it, right? external goal, the backstory, the fear, the contradiction, the speaking style, the visual trait is slim, slightly underweight frame, bloodshot eyes, restless movement, right? Then the arc. Also, if I don't do, I might go die. That is how it starts. Then the conflict, then the end, he will choose sacrifice over what? Survivor. Then these are also the antagonists, what supporting characters, the dealer for external pressure, right? Or gaslight, the person who's supplying the drugs to him. Then the victim, who is Ifnaya, right? Is 22 and he has the innocent face, and Emeka might fall in love with him. The friend, who is the emotional conscious, who will now tell Emeka to stay clean. The sister, the personal stakes, that will create personal stake. Now, the device that is stealing people's breath, right, is a philosophical what antagonist. Now, after I've modified it, that it should be victim, it's now refined the protagonist, right? Now, the new behavior it's added is that what? That in his arc, he will start avoiding repairs so that he stop what? Draining people. And it has created this character Bible for me. So I would say refine it to a good character notes. So it's giving me the character notes, right? Now I have everything I need about the character. So I know how he looks, speaking types, he's slim, slightly unkempt. You will see where we are going to use this, right? Now, I will take all these contents, right? I'll take all these contents and copy it and go and put in my project Bible. You will see where we will need it later, right? Now, I've added this one. Okay, let's move on. Now we have the character Bible right now. But I need a character summary. I will say, write a 1-paragraph character summary for each character. You will see where I use this. So I write a character summary. Okay. So this is a summary. So I go back to my documents and write character words summary. Okay. Now I'll copy this character. I think I generated the camera summary from me. I'll copy it. I'll put. Now I have my character summary. So let's move on. Now we have done the profile and summaries. Now the next one is what? Generate what? The theme, the moral pressure, and the conflict. I take my prompts. Remember, we have a log line. We also have a character summary. So I take this, go over there. Based on the log line, now I put I come back to my Bible and I copy the log line. See why all these things are important. I'm putting that in my project Bible. Right? I put my listing in quotes. Okay. So I click. So it generates for me what? The central dramatic question, which will be, will Emeka choose to let some innocent person die that can survive or sacrifice himself to stop the harm he's causing? The team, right? Survival demands selfishness, but humanity devises what? Sacrifice. You see the team. Well written now. Right? Then it is giving me now 5 ways what the protagonist can be tested. The unaware what harm test. It raised a customer unknowing at first, not guilty, yet just survivor. Can he continue once he realizes the cost? The recognition test. He notices repeated customers keep going weak. Will he ignore the pattern or face it? Then the bias test. He chooses who to serve, arrogant or kind customers, right? Then the personal connection test. He bonds with Ifunaya, the very person he is draining, right? Then the final moral test, breaking point. He must refer a phone that will kill someone innocent, if now a child. Will he finally stop, even if it means his death? Okay. Now, escalating complication, the device demands more. So it's if it's taking maybe one person's breath this time, it's going to ask more. The victims return what? Weaker. The pattern is noticed. Target locking, withdrawal hits harder. What are the 3 possible endings? Tragic ending, Emeka completes the repair, drains it completely and survives, but is left alone, haunted and emotionally hollow, right? This is a tragic ending. Ironic ending, Emeka refuses to drain Ifunanya and begins to collapse, only to realize that the device has already drained enough from him to kill him anyway. He dies, but the device activates in someone else's hand. The system continues, the sacrifice does not matter. That's another one. Hopeful ending, Emeka refuses to complete the repair, drop the devices, and endures withdrawal, barely surviving as what if Naya lives. Father image, she walks away alive, lies weak, but human again. Now, we have this. Now, you can stress test this thing as much as possible, but I also want to take it because of time, right? So we copy this now. So I ask myself, if I copy this and I go to my document, now my document is getting filled up. You see now, I have 9 pages already of my character Bible. So see that the journey is not easy, right? So I have my central thematic questions. I have the way it can be tested and all those ones. Now I'm done. So I move on to the next. You will start seeing why this is important. Okay. Now we are going towards build a beat sheet now based on the story, right? Based on the story. So I'm creating this. I'm copying this again. Going back for my generation again. Remember, when we tell the story, I put in, whenever I say this story, I put in the log line, right? I like putting this in quotes. Now, here, I will also determine the ending. I like the hopeful ending. right? Okay. And the escalations earlier generated, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next. So this is the beat sheet, the opening image, the setup, right? The opening image said a cluster roadside phone resource shop here in Enugu, flickering tangled wires. Emeka shaky hands holds a customer's phone as the screen glows and a subtle drain effect pauses. He exhales as his body stabilizes. Okay, setup. Customers come and go as Emeka repairs phones. He watches battery percentages obsessively. He hesitates before touching devices and pocket cash while hiding withdrawal tremors. His survival is tied to each repair. Inciting incidents. If Naya arrives with a cracked phone, warm and talkative, as Emeka repairs it, the drain happens again, but this time he notices her slight dizziness as she leaves. Turning point, if Naya returns weaker for a follow-up fix, Emeka realizes the pattern. His repairs are draining the same people, and for the first time, he pulls his hand away mid-contact. Rising complications. The device demands longer contact. Emeka struggles to keep his hand on phones without drawing attention. Mama Kichi complains of unusual fatigue during a routine visit. Chidi notices customers living weaker and questions Emeka. Withdrawal intensifies when Emeka avoids using the device. Sweat, shaky blood vision. The device seems to pull him back forward towards Ifnaya's phone when she returns again. Midpoint, Emeka secretly tests the device, touches another device briefly, and sees Ifnaya outside suddenly stagger. He realizes the device is now locking onto her, making her the primary source. You can see the crisis, the climax, the resolution, right? The resolution this time is Ifnaya, confused but alive, slowly walks away. The climax is Emeka's hand trembling. Emeka begins to repair, then stops. He drops the phone and yanks his hand away, refusing to join her despite the pain. Her device flickers and loses power. So Emeka did not join Ifnaya. Emeka collapses beside her cure, sweating and weak, but breathing, watches her disappear into the streets as the noise of life continues around her. So you could see this is the story, right? Okay. Now, once we have this, we can copy this, right? Remember, you can still modify it. When you put it there, you can modify the bits. I don't want to do the modification right now, right? Now, this is where I have all my content in, right? This is where I have all my content in, right? And this is where I always will make reference. So this is the project Bible we are discussing. Okay. Now I have the bits. Now let's move on. What do we do next once we have the bits? We stress test the story, right? So we'll now stress test this and see where this is where most people miss. Please always do this stress test. Critique the script. Okay, so I take to my distance and I ask him to critique this beat sheet like a strict story editor. And let's see what it will come out with. Now it's giving me the critique of it and the fixes. right? Now, by the time you also do your thing, you start getting the hang of what we are doing here, of this, right? It's giving me unclear this thing there. I can now, after this, I can say rewrite. After I've exercised it, what do I do next? I can tell it to what? Rewrite it. So I can say what? Rewrite what? So it should rewrite based on these improvements, and it can now get me the final bit sheets I need. Okay. Now, I now have my bit sheets. The next thing is now the story what outline. So I'll copy my bit sheets. Okay. I'll take that same contents to my project Bible where I have everything. I put it there, so I have my bit sheet. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is to write the screenplay, right? So I'll say it should convert the bit sheets into a scene by scene outline. So I'll take this for instance, go back here, this. And I'll tell it, remember, it's already have this bit sheet. And continue, and I say, convert this bit sheet to a scene by scene outline. For each scene, include the scene number and the rest. So I click on that to generate for me the scene outline. Right? To see the different steps you could use. And if you use these steps, you will most likely produce a very strong script. This is the, I will say this is the secret, right? If you attempt using AI to write a screenplay without following this, you will notice that you will not produce a good work. But once you follow these secrets, it becomes much easier. Okay, fine. So I have this. So remember, I also copy it. Please don't always copy your this thing and transfer them to your what? Project Bible, like I do. It's important. And learn to use Google Docs. Google Docs is a very good this thing to do use as your project Bible. Okay, now we have the bit this thing there. Now, the very first thing we are going to do is now do a draft simply. So since we have the bit sheet, if you look at what we have right here, we have 10 scenes for this story. I'm going to now do scene 1. So I take this, right? Let's start from the scene 1. I copy the text, go to here, and I say what? Write scene 1 in the screenplay format. But see, there is one of the things you need to understand. We need to paste the log line for context. Always do this before it will now divert the story to something else. So you give him the log line, You now also see where the character notes come in. So I give him the log line. So I say, I have preferred just log line, this context, right? We give him the log line. Right? What else do you give him? The character notes. You see why we did the character summary. So this is a summary. We take it in. Now, there is no previous scene summary, so we remove it. Right? Then, what is the scene objective? Remember, for us to do the scene objective here, we go back to our bits. We are dealing with what's it called? Scene 1. So we take this. That's the objective of the scene. In the scene objective, we pour in the purpose, the conflict, right, and the change. And these are the requirements. So we click. And by this time, it's going ahead to generate for us the listing there. Okay. It's taking some time. Right? So generating for us the script. Right? Now let's look at the script generated. A calm wooden kiosk sits by a dusty Google side, tangled wires, flicker board, and inside Emeka tech we fix all phones. Inside Emeka punches over an open smartphone, sweat beads on his forehead, his hand trembled, slight was constant. A customer party well dressed stands there by checking his watch. Customer, hey guy, how far? I did late, right? Then customer clicks his tongue. This is the normal dialogue, right? Then let's see what happens at the end of the script. Okay. Okay, you can see that the customer is having issues. Okay, fine. So we have a script of what can happen, right? That he fixes somebody's phone, the person gets weaker, right? And the person starts falling, right? And Becca already shows visible sign of withdrawal syndrome as a drug addict. Now we have this. Remember we said scene by scene. So I copy the scene 1 now. Go back to my document. Put in scene 1 and I put in the content. So we could do take that same content, go over here and tell it to do scene 2. I've copied scene 1, right? So I can edit this thing there and tell it to do what? Scene 2. Okay. Now we have the context, the camera summary, the character summary. But here now we are going to change what? The purpose, the scene objective. So we go back to the top parts. That's you can see why your character, your project Bible is important, right? And scene 2, we took this and change the purpose and this, put it and send, and it will generate. Remember, this has to be done scene by scene, right? Scene by scene. Generating the next script, Mankechi, and all those ones, right? I want you to also be able to try this thing out, right? And see, because I copy it again and put. This is, back to my this. After this, so you can see I'm already generating the scenes. After that, I can do a normal rewrite and do this. So you can see, using this method, you could generate this thing scene by scene, right? Till you are done. And once you are done with this, I've done 2 scenes. You can now do your rewrite. Remember that what you have just done is with the first draft. And the first draft is just your raw material. You can now start rewriting the content. Because like they say that great content is not written. Great content are what? Rewritten. So that needs to be clear with us, right? And after you have done with your rewriting, you can now, you can now tighten your action lines, your dialogue, and every of them, right? You could now move on to, let's look at the next one, which is creating the consistent character. And I'll show you guys how to create consistent character, right? Fine. So the other ones are right. So let's look at what the consistent character. Now you have been able to create the beats. The next issue is who is Emeka and who is Ifnaya and the rest. So how do you create a consistent character, right? Now I will show you guys what we do. You could go to Google and type chat GPT consistent image generator. ChatGPT has a consistent image generator inside it, and you can use it to generate your consistent images. So fine. So I click on this now, for instance. Right? Now, when it opens, remember, this is a reason why we always say have your projects projects Bible. Let's go. We have the character Emeka, which we have generated earlier. Remember, any of these documents I've done, you can modify it if you want. I copy this to them. This, and I say, create Emeka, 24 years in Enugu, I just put this so that he understands the character he wants to create, which I copied from my character Bible. But there is something we did not do there. We did not add whether it's a male or a female, right? In that. So I'll add in the next one. Now, this is me generating it in. Okay, let me also go to Google Flow and generate to the image so that you can see, we can compare it. This is Emeka. It's generated. But I think this Emeka looks too depth. And one of the things that has happened that is also generated this. I could now say, okay. I'm now writing that you should remove the background, make him leaner. His eyes should be bloodshot. Okay. He should wear an orange singlet and thong jeans. You can see me, I'm now designing the character well now, right? A bracelet. Okay. A big, bold chain with pendants. Now you can see what I have brought in here. After I generated the first one, say remove the background, make him leaner. That is, his eyes should be blood spots, right? He should wear an orange singlet and a torn jean, should have bracelets, right? And a big boot chain pendant. So fine. Let's see if he generates a mecha that we can use. Okay, now let's also see if we could also do the same thing in view. So let's create also with flow. So I always like trying out at least two to see the kind of image that will come true. Okay. Okay. So I think we have our Emeka now. It's leaner. It looks more like a drug addict wearing a singlet, wearing a big bold chain necklace. Right. Now, once you have this, okay, I'm signing into VO. Once you have this, now what I'm going to do is to combine the two the two prompts for Google Flow to use Nano Banana to create the image for me. Now I'm going to change this thing from this to images, right? I put in the first prompts. And instead of saying go back to view, I now say instead of remove background, I will now say no background. And instead of saying make him linear, okay. Okay, so I'll combine the two and let's see what Nano Banana will generate for me as the image of Emeka. Now that I have this Emeka's image, I can now do anything with it, right? I can now say, put the character in a kiosk with phone repair, and also make sure you download this thing and save it first. Repair tools, right? Make sure you download it and save it. Repair tools. He should sit on a stool with a table that has a terrible bad scratches on it. The table should be old. Emeka should face down using a pairing. So you can see I have my character now, so I can do anything I want to do with it now. So this is consistent image generator to use this person and generate this image for me. Let's see what Flow has generated. So this is who Flow has generated for Emeka. All right? And who looks more real? At this juncture, let me ask the question. Let me be sure people are even following me. Who do we go for? Is it the Emeka generated by ChatGPT or Emeka generated by View, by Google Flow? Please put it in your chat section. Is it this Emeka or this Emeka? Now, this is where you now start making artistic choices, right? So let's see what's the ones you guys like. Okay, almost everyone is going with the Flow. The one generated by Nano Banana I'm saying everybody's saying it looks better. There's more real. Second image, flow. I totally agree with you. Right? For me, to be honest, also, I prefer this Emeka to the other Emeka. Prefer the Emeka generated by Google Flow than the Emeka generated by ChatGPT consistent engagement. Let's see. You see? I don't know why. Okay, let's give view the same prompts. Now, in view, if I want to now make reference to the same image, I just click this and I select this. Right? It's now the reference, my reference image now. So I can now put this. Right? So let's see what view will generate. So anything you want it to now do, what else do you want us to Emeka to do? Let's say we want Emeka to what else? To wave his hand to a customer, right? You can see I can maintain that. Make the character wave his hand as if smiling. And imaginary, I'll make him wave his hand and smile to an imaginary girl. Okay. You can see there's this and that. Okay. This is the image generated by Flow, which for me is much, much better. More realistic, much better. So you already have seen, you can see it is the same character that he's using in both of them. I will also give a third task to, so I'm giving a third one to this, so that you can compare, so that you could know which one you want to use, whether it's ChatGPT, consistent image generator, or you want to try out your Nano Banana, right, in Google Flow. For me, this shot from Google beats the one from the consistent image generator of ChatGPT, right? But you can try it yourself and see which one do you will prefer, right? The choice is just to make. Well, my job is to show you how it can be done, right? Okay. So I think I copy this same text. Okay, you can see. But for us to do, we do reference to this the second image, and we click. So the difference here is in the consistent image generator, you don't need to make reference. It already understands, right? So this is Emeka, and the other one is another Emeka there. So the choice, I've done 3 images generated with consistent image generator of ChatGPT, and the other one with Google Flow, where we have Nano Banana. So, like I said, the choice is yours. Okay. So, in your story, which one do you want to go with? It's now your choice. right? So at this juncture, this is where we will stop for today to take questions. By on Friday, we will now move from the image generated to what our shortlist and all the things we can do with this, right? Okay, so I have this already. So at this juncture, if you have questions, it's time for questions. Let's go back to that and let's take your questions. If you have any question, please add it. Write it in your comments section of the Zoom link. And if you're live stream, you can also write it as a comment. All right. And if you have enjoyed, before your questions, please, if you enjoyed this to this point, this is 2 solid hours, 30 minutes of teaching. Please give us a round of applause if this has been impactful, right? A round of applause will do. We'll quite appreciate that. If you are also on YouTube, please, they can give us a round of applause. Okay. I'll drink water while I wait your questions. Go snap this boy from me, make I see. Hello? So I'm waiting for questions. No snap. So while I drink water. Drink food. Yeah? While I wait for your questions, I'm drinking water. Right? Shaduk Abdul is saying, why ChatGPT always limited in terms of continuous prompting? Is it because I haven't subscribed for premium yet? Yes. They want you to subscribe. So if you if you keep prompting continually, they will limit you so that you can subscribe. Right? Without that, you will not be subscribing. One person is saying, okay. Your questions, please. Your questions, please. Someone is asking what you did in ChatGPT. Can it be done in Google Gemini? That is I believe is the prompting of the scripts. Yes, it can, but I prefer ChatGPT. Okay. You can do it in Gemini. And remember also the image, you could see me do the imaging. I did it with ChatGPT. I also did it with Google Flow. Okay, more questions, please. Okay. We have another question. Do you have any other question? Prince Ugoza is saying, can I use Microsoft Word as my Bible? Yes, you can. You can use your Microsoft Word as your project Bible. You can. You can definitely use Microsoft Word, right? So you can see everything we discussed, we talked about in the in the theory, we practicalize it, and you see why it's important. It's so important having your project Bible. And make sure, but the difference also in Microsoft Word and Google Docs is that Google Docs saves automatically, while in MS Word, Microsoft Word, you need to always keep saving it, right? HP is asking, can you use one email to sign up in different AI apps? Yes, you can. It is one of my emails that I just use in signing up. Then Shaku Abdul is saying, have you tried DeepSeek? I think it's great for scripting. I've not tried DeepSeek that much, but I know ChatGPT to give me what I want. So I've not done much research on using DeepSeek, right? But you can use DeepSeek too. Any of those apps that you can use for generating text can do this. Exactly what I did in the scripting part. Then Chineme said MS Word saves automatically too. Okay, fine, fantastic, right? But make sure have something that saves automatically. Okay. Do I have further questions? Please, if you have questions, please ask. And in the absence of any other questions, we might call it a day. Right? Okay. I don't think I've seen any other questions. So please, thank you so much. You guys have been the best, staying with me for 2 hours, 30 minutes. You guys are the most valuable player in this training. And I appreciate everyone. Prince Ugozo Charles Chibuzo, I've always been seeing you. And I thank you so much for being part of this class and always being Aka Glory. I've seen you guys, Ahmad Sani, Shako Abdul, Chineme. You guys are solid. King Eze, Paul Oyiloye, Rita Chinyere, Thelma, Ahmad Mohammed Sani, Ifeanyi Bekwe. You guys are good. You guys, thank you so much for being with me all through these 2 hours, 30 minutes of training. And I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much and have a great evening. And you guys can start with a round of applause, right? All right.